Representative Morales was truly brave in there. I find it extremely disrespectful. They had police officers put their hand on a representative of the people. Put their hands, two police officers put their hands on Representative Morales and pulled him out of that room. That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. The Commissioner of Reverence, who supposedly spent decades, should have more reference for a representative. It's an excuse, and we demand an apology. They should listen to any representative that takes the time to come out here to speak on behalf of people, not manhandle them and evict them from the proceedings with putting their hands on our representative. So let's hear from Representative and thank him for standing up for us.
So everything we saw happening there was unfortunate because once more, the Public Utilities Commission is trying to hide behind legal technicalities as to why they have their quote-unquote hands tied and are therefore being forced to approve these rate hike increases. However, I just want to reiterate once more, there is nothing within the law that says you, the Public Utilities Commission, are thereby forced and required to say yes to these rate increases, much less this historic level rate increase of 47% for electricity services. And then what we're going to see moving forward next month is the 15% increase for natural gas services. And what we did today was something that was unprecedented, because as it was mentioned before, and we have to continue calling out, is the fact that these Public Utility Commission hearings and these meetings, they happen on Friday mornings, Monday mornings, when the public, when the working people who are going to be impacted by increasing rates are at work. Therefore, it is our responsibility, it is our duty to exercise our rights to make sure that we are having a presence and we're making it known that not only is this an immoral stance for them to take and just rubber stamp these rate increases, but it's also simply wrong and does not necessarily follow the legal practices that they try to claim over and over. That way they could just hide and say, well, we didn't have much of a choice.
What happened here today?
So what happened today, and what is incredibly shameful, is the Public Utilities Commission has just approved a record level increase for electricity service rates. So by starting in October, we will see a 47% increase for electricity services.
What do you think of that?
I think it is shameful, I think it is immoral, and I think it is wrong because of the fact that the Public Utilities Commission could have rejected these rate increases, especially when you consider that these rate increases are coming from a for-profit company worth billions of dollars, and just 5 months ago they acquired the assets of Narragansett Electric from National Grid for $4 billion.
Well, they say they're just passing along the increased cost of providing this power.
Yeah, so again, they are trying to hide behind the technicality of the pass-through costs. However, as has been advocated before by the George Wiley Center, by consumers, by working people who are here today, we're demanding that in a case where the Public Utilities Commission does reject the rate hike, will that mean that Rhode Island Energy will absorb some of the costs? The answer would there be yes, they would.
Well, somebody's got to pay for it, right?
Yes, and I would say it's a utility company worth billions of dollars, not a working person who's struggling to make ends meet and don't qualify for any form of subsidy programs.
What is this going to do for low-income families and people?
So for lower income families, there will be some who are protected from some level of rate increase if they qualify for certain subsidy programs. However, the issue is it is very hard to qualify for these programs based on income levels and the application process. So a vast majority of working class families and people, in addition to middle class families, are going to see their electricity bill increase by roughly $52 starting in October.
What's your reaction? I mean, a lot of you guys were in there voicing your opinions and your concerns, and it's still the vote didn't go.
Yeah, so it's insulting. So last Friday there was a Public Utilities Commission meeting in regards to hearing from the public what their thoughts were about this 47% increase for electricity services. Dozens of people showed up and we heard traumatic story after traumatic story about the impact that these rate increases would have. And here we are just 7 days later, and it's almost as if that meeting from last week just didn't matter at all, because they just kept going back to the legal aspects, the technicalities that forced them to vote yes, even though they were inaccurate in saying that.
If you could say one word, just how are you feeling right now?
Ashamed. Ashamed of the Public Utilities Commission, ashamed of our state government not fighting back further on this issue. I think we should have had every elected official directly here demanding that there would be a rejection of these rate hikes. Even Governor McKee, when he was here last week, he never at one point said reject these rate hikes. He just said let's explore what subsidy options exist. We have to be very firm in our demands, and our demands have been from the moment that Rhode Island Energy proposed these rate hikes, we have to reject them.
At the end, they were saying, well, there's deferment and you can do budget plans and stuff, but the bottom line is that it doesn't negate the rate increase, that they still want people to pay.
Absolutely not. What it will further cause is for people to be stuck in debt for years on end.
Do you have any understanding as to why they did not take up the profits of Rhode Island Energy when they did this? Because that was one of the asks, and it was never even mentioned as an ask, that they lower the profit of Rhode Island Energy from 10 to 6%.
Yes, that's correct. So as of right now, the profit margin that is allowed under the PUC and the private utility company that has control of our public utility system is a 10% for-profit margin, whereas years before it was 6%. And that it was quietly a docket item that happened a few years back where they're now allowed to have a 10% profit margin. So all of us here, in addition to George Wiley Center, have been calling for that profit margin to be reduced, which would thereafter also require that any rate hikes also be lowered. So for example, if we had a 6% profit margin in place right now, we perhaps would not be seeing a 47% rate hike increase proposal.
So what do we do in a situation of what I'm going through a situation. I'm going through
Tell
a
us your
situ-
name first.
My name is Dorn James.
How do you spell
But
that, Dorn?
it's D-O-R-E-N, last name. I'm from Lincoln. And what I'm trying to say is that what we fighting for is a person of, I'm a single parent. I have a 9 and a 15-year-old boy and girl. So if I got a bill of $5,000, how do I get that bill taken care of? If that's a bill that I have no idea that I didn't see in 1 year. So where did that amount of money comes in 1 year if you don't send me a bill? If you don't send me a bill, I'm responsible for a $5,000 or $4,000 bill? How did you come up with that amount of money?
And what is this increase going to do? With
What, it ain't gonna do nothing for me but put me further in debt, and then me and my child or my children is gonna be out on the street, and we're gonna be out in the street in the cold. Is that fair? Because they can go home and they got electricity, they got heating, and they live in probably a miniature mansion or a mansion. But I live in an apartment building that I get held every day by the damn landlord. So what do I do and who do I help? Who's accountable? Am I accountable for paying that amount of money? And I got other bills, I got notes of a car bill, I got my children's games that I got to take them to and spend money for them to be on a team to occupy their mind. What about the academics? Things come up, I got to pay for it. They do a fundraising, I got to anticipate because my child is involved with it.
So these utility costs, what is it going to have you, bargaining for? Food, like rent?
All the above, man. Out of respect, all the above is going to be my challenge. The challenge is who am I going to speak to and who is going to help to regulate my bill, not just everybody in the world. I'm concerned about mine. $5,000, $4,000 of. How do I get that bill? How did I get that? Who is running the place that I'm living? Is that a bill behind somebody that was living there before me? It has to be. Think about it.
Right. Awful. Mr. James, thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you.
Uh,